James Moriarty, you have been convicted of the crime of murder. If you have anything to say why sentence of this court should not be pronounced upon you, speak and you shall be heard.
I have this to say. I thank the learned counsel for the Crown for the vigor with which he has prosecuted me. I thank Colonel Gore King of Scotland Yard for the intelligence with which he has managed at last to build up a case against me. And above all, I thank Sherlock Holmes. I am sorry he is not present, my lord, for the enmity with which he has distinguished me all these years. But, gentlemen, I regret to say the rope that will hang me has not yet been made. You yourself, Mr. Erskine, will hang before I hang. Colonel Gore King, you are sure to die before I die. And as for Sherlock Holmes, I shall be alive to see his disgrace and death. Go on with your sentence.
James Moriarty, you have been convicted of the crime of murder. The sentence of this court is that you be taken hence to the place whence you came, and thence to a place designated by law where, on a date of which you will be notified, you shall hang by the neck till you be dead. And may Almighty God have mercy on your soul.
Sherlock Holmes, Esquire.
What is it? What is it? Why, Alice, my dear.
Wasn't I an optimist to think I could charm you away from all these blobs and bottles with a new frock?
Why, it's charming. I noticed it was new the moment you came into the room.
Humbug, you didn't see me come into the room. Besides, I've worn it 7 times already.
Is that the way to trip up a mastermind?
Oh, I hate this room.
You mustn't, Alice, my dear. Next to you, it's the most important thing in my life.
That's why. I'm jealous of it.
Jealous?
I come here to have tea with you?
Yes, I know, and find me mooning.
Exactly. And I don't find tea.
Here you are, sir, Mr. Holmes, sir.
Good boy, Billy. You remembered me at any rate.
Mr. Holmes can't remember everything, Miss Alice. He's got that motor wrecking ray in his mind, he has.
Motor wrecking? Who wants to wreck motors?
The police, my child, the police. Motor transportation, more than anything else, is responsible for the frightful increase in crime.
The fast cars have got to be stopped, miss. The criminals can get away in them easy, so there's a lot more crime, see?
I see.
Yes, the fast cars must be stopped, and we hope this little device will stop them. My collaborator will explain it to you. Please, Billy.
Right you are, sir. You see, miss, this is a motor car full of criminals, and they're getting away at top speed.
How exciting.
And Mr. Holmes, he's got this little machine with him, and he's following in another car.
There's an electromagnetic ray 200 yards.
Watch out now, miss. You'll see the explosion.
Now, don't be afraid, Alice. Overloads the ignition coil, causing it to heat up and burn out. As you see.
The car stops, the police comes up, and the criminals are captured.
And the hero and heroine fade into each other's arms.
Excuse me, miss.
Well, there you have it. The motor wrecking ray. My farewell gift to Scotland Yard.
May I really believe you this time?
Well, my dear.
Dr. Watson, sir.
I say, Holmes. Oh, hello, Miss Faulkner. I say, Moriarty's been sentenced.
Are you sure?
I just came from court. Most exciting. Amazing devil. He predicted that the prosecutor Erskine, Gore King, and you, Holmes, should die before he dies. Think of it, in the dock.
Yeah, very thoughtful of him.
And that's the end of Professor Moriarty.
And that's the end of me.
End?
Of Sherlock Holmes, investigator. No more crime, no more excitement.
We'll have a nice little home in the country.
And a good life, too, if you ask me.
I'm almost sorry to see Moriarty go.
Good riddance.
We've been fighting for 10 years. He stole the jewels of the Archduke Alexius and escaped me. Walked out of Monte Carlo with 50 million francs and got away.
And what about the Comtesse de Bardelone?
Yes, he murdered her and left no clue. The only man to use scientific methods as I use them. A marvelous man, Watson. And he's gone.
And we shall soon be going. You haven't forgotten your promise.
Forgotten? Lock up the laboratory, Watson. Unload my pistol.
Yes, my dear Holmes, but where are you going?
I'm ashamed of you, Watson, after all these years. Where are your powers of deduction? A beautiful girl?
An impetuous lover?
A menace removed?
What can follow but wedding bells?
We're off to apply for a special license.
Sherlock Holmes and wife, farmers.
Sherlock Holmes, new laid eggs for sale.
Incredible, my dear Holmes. Amazing.
Elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary.
Can't interfere with young people nowadays, even when one's a father. Particularly when one's a father. Just a waste of breath. But it's a great pity all the same, a great pity. I suppose you've forgotten Hugo de Faulkner came over with William the Conqueror.
And if we must discuss family history, Roger Faulkner had the distinction of being beheaded by good Queen Bess.
Exactly. 27 generations of knights and gentlemen, so that you, my girl, might marry a confounded detective.
Dad, Mr. Holmes is not a detective.
Same thing, same thing.
Scientific criminologist, darling. My dear, you'll simply have to join the hunt when we're married.
I'm not so sure, darling. It's years since I rode to hounds.
Two-legged game more to your taste, eh?
Right so, sir?
Yes, but he's going to love the country. Dogs and horses and cows.
Oh, yes. Lovely cows.
Indeed. Don't care so much for cows myself. Milk's poison to me, positive poison. Why did you bring up cows?
Oh, shush, Daddy, dear.
I won't shush.
No wonder your nerves are on edge, Mr. Faulkner. Must be very disconcerting to have overslept on a hunting morning.
How did you know I'd overslept?
Oh, my dear Mr. Faulkner, there's a small patch of black court plaster on your cheek, your stock's carelessly tied, and the seal ring you customarily wear by day and lay off at night is missing from your finger. These apparent trifles indicate you dressed in a great haste. Why such hurry, unless you'd overslept?
Of course I overslept. Any child could see that.
You do look poorly, dear.
Poorly, poorly? I look wretchedly and feel worse. got a backache, got a headache, got no appetite.
Haven't you eaten anything?
Not a mouthful.
Oh, come now. Not even a biscuit?
Crumbs on my waistcoat, I suppose.
Precisely.
You keep out of my stomach with your deductions, Mr. Holmes. Don't like it. Must have a little privacy. Say.
Have a little bite to eat, darling. You'll feel better.
No, thank you. Well, perhaps I will. You might ask Hilton to bring me some ham and a couple of kidneys, will you? Oh, and a glass of port wine and brandy. Just to please you, my dear. Yeah? Yeah. Who? Oh, Dutton. You, Holmes.
Oh, thank you. Holmes speaking. Driggs Erskine? What? Disappeared. Is there no trace of him? Oh, he left a note, did he? I'll see that nothing's disturbed. I'll be with you in an hour. Yes. My dear, I must go. Erskine's missing. You remember the fellow that helped convict Moriarty?
Yes, but you finished with all that. You promised me you'd give it up.
Well, just this once, dear. Only once more.
Well, that's what you always say, darling.
Yes, dear, but Erskine's a friend of mine. I must go. But this is the last time. You'll see when we're married.
Yeah, we'll see. Confounded detective.
Billy, we can start with the white powder here. I think this is going to be very important.
Hadn't I better cover the old room, Mr. Holmes, sir?
Oh, no, not yet. See this? Jams against the desk this side. Quite obviously, the footprints start there.
Yes, sir.
This letter is all you found?
Yes, sir.
You can vouch for it being Mr. Erskine's handwriting?
Yes, sir.
Life is too much for me. Always sending men to the scaffold. I am taking a dose of my own medicine. Fiat Justitia. Erskine. You are Mr. Erskine's head clerk.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
You saw him come in after lunch?
Yes, sir.
Nobody saw him go out?
No, Mr. Holmes.
You're quite sure that the outer office was occupied constantly?
Quite, sir.
Yet he got out.
If I may say so, sir. He isn't here, so he must have gone out.
Really? It didn't suggest itself to you, I suppose, that if he didn't go out, he must be here.
Here's the end of him, sir. Right up to the wall, sir.
Where's this door lead?
What door, sir? It's hollow.
Billy, I think you'll find some steps leading away from here. See what the carpet tells us in this direction.
Yes, sir.
You're Colonel. I didn't know you were here. How are you?
Hello, Holmes.
Delightful day, isn't it?
Quite. When you've finished, Holmes, I'll proceed with the investigation.
Oh, please. Always happy to defer to Scotland Yard.
Not at all. Thanks. Why did poor old Erskine do it?
Do what?
You know as well as I do.
I'm not so sure I do.
Simple enough, isn't it? He left a note, didn't he?
So it seems. Take a look at it.
Thanks, I've read it. Clear enough, don't you think?
Frightfully clear. Mr. Driggs Erskine returns to this office after lunch, commits suicide, and spirits away his own body. Quite the usual thing to do, what?
Quite the contrary, I should think, from what they told me at the Yard.
At the Yard? And did they tell you in their great wisdom where you might find the body?
Well,
And perhaps I can continue?
onward, Christian soldier.
Ready, Mr. Holmes?
Good, Billy. Now suppose you measure the footprints and the distance between each step.
Right, sir.
Still muddling with the old-fashioned methods, eh, Holmes?
Scientific analysis may not be popular, but it can hardly be called old-fashioned, Colonel. Here we're rather inclined to let a man's conscience betray him. It's rather awkward when you're looking for a criminal without one. The French use espionage. But even that leaves something to be desired. Our American cousins...
Rely on the strong arm, yes.
But I'm told that's not altogether infallible. No, I incline towards the German school myself. The laboratory is a hunting ground for criminals. May I? You know, if Einstein or James Jeans or
Robert Millikan?
Yes, came into the detective business, I rather fancy we should all be looking out for jobs very soon. Rubbish.
Mr. Holmes, sir. Them's awful long steps for a shortish man, Mr. Holmes.
And Mr. Erskine was a shortish man. Oh, sure, you noticed that, Billy, did you? What else did you notice?
Doesn't it seem to you, sir, that the steps coming away from the wall is not as heavy as those going to it?
And why are the steps coming away from the wall lighter than those going to it?
Well, sir, Mr. Holmes, sir, if the man going to the wall was carrying something heavy, his footsteps would sink deeper into the carpet, wouldn't they, sir?
They would, and they did.
Mr. Holmes, sir.
What nonsense.
The thing the tall man was carrying. Perhaps it was.
Not perhaps, Billy.
Oh, what twaddle. Why, Erskine wrote...
Let's see what he wrote. While the murderer wasn't looking. Read it.
Moriarty.
You know his handwriting. Verify it.
How could Mr. Erskine have written that?
Invisible ink, eh?
Invisible nonsense. He went a match with his tongue and on the paper wrote this accusation. Simplest, safest, and best-known method of secret writing in the world. There it is. The name of his murderer.
But, Mr. Holmes, sir, Moriarty's in prison waiting to be hanged tomorrow.
Is he, Colonel?
Moriarty escaped.
Why didn't you let me know? Why wasn't I told?
The commissioner wanted it kept quiet.
Moriarty out looking for revenge, and today he murdered Driggs Erskine.
You haven't proved murder.
Haven't I? Step over to that wall, since you only believe what your eyes can see. I think you better wait outside for me, Billy.
Hidden springs, eh? Let's look under the carpet.
Clever men like Erskine don't use hidden springs. They're too easily found. You must look for the most obvious thing. It is only the obvious that escapes attention. Hello, what's this? A lamp burning in broad daylight. There's one bulb missing. Where are the extra bulbs for this lamp?
Well, for some reason, Mr. Erskine never wished that bulb replaced.
Just as I thought. I must ask you to remember that Moriarty is the most notorious and revengeful criminal at large today. Now look and see what he carried to that wall. Anything else I can do for you, gentlemen?
a fire eater. You will see the lady is half fish and half woman. Yes, Simon, she has scales on her legs, but she is not musical. You can take the children in. Yes, take them in by night. Brought up in education. See the greatest shooters on earth. He will put it down in the family album. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful freaks. No, sir, we haven't got the slightest call.
Good afternoon, Sir Albert.
I want to thank you, Holmes, for the help you've given us with the Erskine case.
What help is it to find a dead man? I might have prevented poor Erskine's murder if you'd only let me know of Moriarty's escape. Why must I always be dragged in after the mischief has been done? Ah, Colonel, still alive? I congratulate you.
Moriarty is a bit slow, isn't he?
What on earth are you fellows talking about?
Moriarty kindly promised the Colonel will hang before I do. A very methodical man. Remember, alphabetically, E for Erskine, G for Gore King, H for Holmes. You're next. Moriarty's bound to come looking for you shortly, with very able assistance.
What makes you say he'll have assistance?
No doubt it's just a simple little matter of deduction.
Precisely. Don't you see the Colonel is worried?
I am worried, but it's probably a touch of liver, or the result of a bad night, or...
That bulge in your pocket? You've papers there.
I always carry papers?
Yes. But not always a cablegram from the Commissioner of Police in the city of New York, saying that Homer Jones, the gunman, landed in England today with a forged passport. A wireless from the chief of the Paris Sûreté to tell you that Gaston Roux took off by airplane from Paris yesterday. Hans Dryaugen is missing from his haunts in Berlin. Manuel Lopez has left Madrid for London. That's what's worrying you, Colonel.
Who told you all this?
You yourself this minute.
Oh, then like so many of your brilliant deductions, it was merely a lucky guess.
A solemn certainty. Moriarty's at large, plotting a campaign of vengeance against society. Naturally, Sir Albert, he'll call the most dangerous alien criminals to his aid. International Secret Service will report the departure of their bad boys for England. And when I mention the fact, your hand goes to a pocket bulging with wireless messages.
May I see those messages, Colonel?
Allow me. Elementary, my dear Colonel. Naturally, you're worried. One might almost say alarmed.
Do you suggest that I'm lacking in courage, Mr. Holmes?
Gentlemen, there can be no question of that.
Sir Albert, we need something more than courage. We are facing an inroad of desperate aliens, killers like this Homer Jones from the States.
We know how to deal with...
Please. We've never had to cope with wholesale murder. We're not used to American rackets. Machine guns turned on little children in the streets.
No, I think you will find that our London police...
There is no doubt about the bravery of the London police, but they're unarmed, and you can't fight machine guns with a tin whistle.
I see. You're getting a little nervous, aren't you?
You should be able to recognize the symptoms very easily, Colonel.
Sir Albert, this is a matter for professionals, not amateur theorists. I will hand over Moriarty and his gang in 30 hours, if I may work alone and unhampered.
You will not be hampered by me, Colonel.
Gentlemen, at a time like this, dissension in our ranks...
Is due solely to Colonel Gore King. Good afternoon, Sir Albert. Now, don't be jumpy, Colonel. That's not Moriarty. Only a painter's scaffold.
Gentlemen, we are measurably safe here from intrusion.
He means no one ain't likely to bust in on us.
Mr. Jones, will you tell them about the American methods I propose to introduce in London?
Well, fellas, this is the way I got it figured out. Now, let's say there's 30,000 saloons in London, and we'll make each one of them pay us $5 a week. That ain't bad, is it? And we'll split that 5 ways. And what do you got? 150 grand. And that's only the saloons.
Yeah. But suppose they don't do it.
Ah, but that's it. Now, listen. We go to a guy and we say, we will protect you for $5 a week. And he says, I don't need any protection. But that's what he says. And the next night, what should come along but a car? And what should drop out of the car but a pineapple? And the whole front of his joint busts right open.
A pineapple? A fruit does that?
Tell him. Al, tell him.
Gents, a pineapple is English for a bomb. Don't none of you mugs speak English.
Then we go back to the guy and we say, do you want protection or don't you? And what does he say? Tell him, Al, tell him.
Certainly. Certainly.
But what about the police, eh?
Oui. Does Colonel Gore King sit all the while with his hands folded?
Gore King's hands will indeed be folded, and Sherlock Holmes on the way to a very long sleep.
Sherlock Holmes? You mean the Dick?
You know him?
Oh, I know him. Tell him, Al, tell him.
That Holmes mug was responsible for the chief here doing a 6-year stretch in Sing Sing.
Hey, why don't you let me handle that guy? I'd enjoy it.
Oh, Mr. Jones, you're a child. Sherlock Holmes would send your skin to the Scotland Yard Museum.
Oh, yeah? He's flesh and blood, ain't he?
And brains, huh? Gentlemen, pay attention. There has been bad blood between Sherlock Holmes and Gore King for years.
So I've heard.
Only today, there was an open quarrel between them. And before no less a witness than Sir Albert himself.
Oh, I get you. And you're going to use that grudge between them to...
Precisely. Gaston. There is a sample of Holmes' writing.
Merci, monsieur.
Now, with your clever pen, you will prepare a note in Holmes' own hand, asking Gore King to a secret conference at Holmes' lodgings tonight.
Avec plaisir.
Then what?
Then, Mr. Jones, I shall ask you in your own inimitable fashion to convey to Mr. Holmes the fact that you will visit him tonight to settle an old score.
Oh, I get you. Only I don't go, huh?
You grasp my meaning.
Yeah.
You see, Chief? That mug Holmes will be expecting you, only you don't show up, see? It's this Gory King that comes. But this mug Holmes, thinking it's you that coming, bumps him off.
Ah, but that's a lot of trouble to take the bump off a Dick. Little Sophie here would do a quicker job of it.
I don't want a quick job. I want a slow job. I want to see Sherlock Holmes stand in the dock where I stood, sit in the death cell where I sat, walk down the long grey corridor at dawn and climb the 13 little steps. The black cap drawn about his eyes, and the noose round his neck. He shall hang as he tried to make me hang, as I promised he should. England's darling. And England shall hang him. Sherlock Holmes will kill Gawk King and hang for it.
Strange chap, Holmes.
Quite.
Can't understand him.
I think I'm just beginning to.
You two never did rub along very well together, did you?
Not too well. Well, I think I'll toddle along to my rendezvous with Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the genius of Baker Street. His word is, of course, my command.
Going to follow instructions? Entering by the back way and all that?
To the letter.
Do you think he's to be trusted? I mean, in consideration of everything.
We might as well humor him. It can't do any harm.
I'm not so sure. Just the same, I'd like you to place a couple of men handy. As a favor to me, Colonel.
If you insist, Sir Albert.
Thank you.
My dear fellow, it looks as if some of your bachelor friends were pulling your leg, what?
Friends?
Why not? Goodbye, old pal. Not bad, eh? Seeing that you're about to be married, you know.
You surpass yourself, Watson. Has it escaped your notice that this type of gift is usually sent after the recipient is dead?
Dead?
Bumped off is, I think, the accepted expression. An Americanism, Watson. And perhaps you've read that there are American gunmen in town.
Quite so. Do they always send flowers?
Invariably to their victims after the fact. But this fellow seems to have a sardonic sense of humor.
What fellow?
Oh, don't be dull, Watson. That interesting but rather primitive character, Homer Jones.
Then this is a threat.
Oh, a picturesque method of tipping the black spot. If Homer Jones runs true to form, he'll follow his floral offering within the hour. Yes, and I must get ready for him.
But Miss Faulkner, she's coming here to take you to the opera.
Oh, you're right, Watson. Get on the phone. Stop her from coming. Prevent it at all costs. Billy, you better go home now.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
I say, Holmes, it's most unfortunate.
Well?
Miss Faulkner has just left the house. She may be here at any moment.
That's too bad.
By the way, in view of this threat, perhaps it's significant.
Well, out with it.
You know that large untenanted house across the street?
The windows of which command the entrance of these lodgings.
I'm positive that I saw a blind move in the second-story window. Let's see.
Stop.
Why not have a look?
My dear Watson, your life is of value to me, if not to yourself.
Look at that blind. Second story.
It moved since I looked last. Hello.
What's up?
Two men lurking in the doorway.
Great heavens, Holmes, it is positively an ambuscade.
What they call in their vernacular putting me on the spot.
How fortunate that I dropped in. If you'll spare me one of your revolvers...
I'll spare you nothing of the sort.
Huh?
I've always counted on you, Watson. I'm counting on you now. You must stop Alice and keep her away from here.
I think you might tell me.
Well, I have my plans, but I can't tell you what they are. Just trust me and clear out like a good fellow.
Very well, I'll go. But don't suppose for one moment that I don't see through you.
Really, Watson, you astonish me.
At least you'll bolt the doors after me.
A useless precaution. Homer Jones has eccentric methods of entering.
Holmes. Please set my mind at rest. How do you plan to meet this killer?
There's only one way to deal with these alien butchers. Their own way.
That is?
Shoot first, investigate afterwards.
But is it sporting, old chap?
Oh, get out, Watson. Hello? Oh, yes. I never forget a voice. Coming to see me, is he? You'll find me in and ready for him. I said ready for him. Same to you. Goodbye.
Darling,
Alice, you mustn't come here.
what is this, a game between you and Dr. Watson?
Game?
Yes, he told me the same thing.
Idiot.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I mean Watson.
I told you he wasn't any too bright. He's downstairs now, fairly jittering that he'll wait for
I
me.
particularly asked him...
To head me off?
Exactly.
But why? Why all this mystery? Watson on guard, a darkened room. And you. Have you forgotten that you're taking me to the opera tonight?
Alice, this is most important. I'm so sorry I can't go with you. I must be here alone.
Won't your work wait? Not even for a few hours? It's so important.
Yes, dear, it is.
Oh, you've gone back into the old battle. You against Moriarty.
I've no choice.
Yes, but you promised me.
I know. I thought then that Moriarty was safe behind bars.
Don't you realize what it means to me? Have you in danger of your life every minute?
I know, dear, but...
Oh, give it up. Please give it up. We'll be married soon. Tomorrow. We'll go away. We'll stay away until Moriarty's caught. I can't be harrowed all my life with terror for you.
No, I'm going to see this through.
And you're not coming?
No, dear. Billy! What are you doing here?
I'm awful sorry, Mr. Holmes. Just the experiment I was making, and what does it do but backfire?
I told you to go home.
No, sir. You said I might go home, but you never said I must.
Well, I'm telling you now. And if you ever disobey orders again, I'll pickle you in a bottle and pack you back to Canada. Go along. Get off as quick as you can. Run!
Mr. Holmes, sir.
Well?
There's somebody getting in at the back door. I heard him.
Come. Why did you go home when I told you?
Is it that Elmer Jones coming to do you in?
Whoever it is, he'll get just what he's come to give me. Get in there and stay there.
Ambulance call. In Sherlock Holmes lodgings in Baker Street, Colonel Gore King has been shot.
That was a swell frame.
Yeah, but what next?
You will proceed with the American methods as outlined by Mr. Jones.
The town is ours for the taking.
Yes, you will meet with no obstacles. Dorking is dead. I got Holmes where I want him.
Is he dead? Sure he's dead. What happened? Somebody murdered. Did he get murdered?
right, Colonel.
Are we being followed?
I think not.
You suppose we were watched?
I know we were.
You know, Holmes, this is idiotic.
Possibly. We had to bring Moriarty out into the open. We've given him enough rope. Now let's hope he'll hang himself.
Well, it's an ingenious idea, I suppose, even if it doesn't work.
If it doesn't, it will not be from want of your cooperation, Colonel. A marvelous institution, Scotland Yard. Thank you.
Thank you, Holmes.
Not at all. Thank you, Colonel.
Morning, sir. Nice morning.
You said it.
I beg your pardon, sir?
I said you said it.
You're quite right, sir. I did say it.
Let me have a whiskey straight.
Yes.
Have something yourself, too.
Well, I don't suppose another little one would hurt me.
Is that good whiskey?
Straight off the boat, sir. How is everything in the dear old United States?
Now, how did you know I was from America?
Oh, it don't take no Sherlock Holmes to find that out.
He won't find out anything for a while. Here's mud in your eye.
Oh, I'm sure I hope not, sir.
Hey, I'd like to have a little business talk with you.
Sorry, I don't cash checks. Not interested, sir.
Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. I'm on the level here.
And I'm on the county school board.
You don't get me A-tall. Now, listen. For 1 pound a week, 20 small shillings. Think of it. We'll look after your place here.
I think I can look after it pretty well myself, thanks.
I mean, we'll see that there's no accidents.
Well, I've been here 20 years and we haven't had no accident. Except one day when I gave a customer Pluto water instead of gin.
I wouldn't try to be so funny if I was you. Something serious might happen.
For instance?
For instance, a careless guy might come along and blow this joint over on the other street.
What, blow me up? Don't make me laugh. Here, just a step from St. James's.
Well, it might happen.
Not in London. We've got the finest police force in the world. Nobody can interfere with me.
Says you.
Says me, and you heard me.
Hey, Mug.
Listen, none of your lip. No, I don't like your face and I don't like your tone. Now get out of here before I have you put out.
Okay, sweetheart.
And don't get familiar. My name's George.
I'll be seeing you.
Not if I see you first.
Oh, there you are. Where have you been all the afternoon?
I went for a walk with Billy.
Don't like it at all. Bringing that lad of Holmes's into the household, then moping with him in corners over your hero. Of course, it's a waste of breath to say so, but instead of crying, you ought to be congratulating yourself.
On what, please?
On getting rid of your detective before he committed the murder.
Father.
Well, poor Gar King's dead, isn't he?
Well, how do you know Holmes killed him?
He admitted it.
Then he did it in self-defense.
Oh, come now, look
I
here.
won't listen to you.
Ah, you'll always love him, I suppose. Even if he's 10 times a detective, 100 times a murderer.
Yes, and I'll tell him so the minute I can see him.
Never heard such tosh. Absolutely absurd. Now, come along like a good girl. You'll feel better by dinner time.
Don't expect me to dinner tonight.
Huh?
I'll dine in my own room.
Well, I suppose nothing I can say will stop you. Don't starve yourself, my dear. I'll send you up a bottle of Burgundy, Chambertin 23. Good wine, that. Good body, good color. Excellent wine. Excellent.
Come along, Billy. You're dining with me tonight.
Thank you, Miss Hal. You know, I've been a-thinking. You didn't ought to fret yourself over Mr. Holmes.
Of course not.
There's nothing to cry about.
No, Billy. There really isn't.
Funny, ain't it? Some people would be crying in our place.
That's the last thing we'd do, Billy.
Right you are, miss. What's Mr. Holmes? It would be crying for the likes of him.
Father said I'm well rid of him. Perhaps we both are.
Perhaps.
Billy, you're crying.
Not a bit of dust to me, eh?
Let me see.
Let me be, miss. Let me be.
Oh, don't, Billy, don't.
What'll I do without him? What'll I ever do?
Billy, what will I do?
You mustn't, miss. You mustn't. Mr. Holmes wouldn't ever like it if I let you cry.
American gangster he was. He walks in here as large as life. Nice morning, I says. As you remarked, he says.
He didn't say that, did he?
Well, not exactly those words.
Well, what did he say?
Well, he said I'd said it.
Well, you had said it, hadn't you?
Well, of course I had, stupid.
Well, don't get upset with me. I can't help it.
Well, I know you can't help it. Only got to look at you to see that. Well, then he asked me for a whiskey.
Did you give it him?
Of course I did.
Did he pay for it?
Of course he did.
Well, what you arguing about?
I'm not arguing. But he offered to mind the place for me.
Well, I think that was very nice of him.
You don't understand. This is one of the, what they call in America, one of them, what's those things they use when they play tennis?
White trousers?
No, a racket. Then he said he had a bomb in his pocket.
Well, you can't play tennis with bombs.
I ain't talking about tennis. He said he was going to blow the place up.
Well, I think I'd better be getting home.
Oh, no, don't you worry. I told him where to get off. I says to him, I says, do you know who I am, I says? He says, no. I says, I'm the big noise round here.
George? Hello. How do you feel? I feel neither here nor there. Don't you think it's a pity you didn't give that fellow the pound? Oh, I don't know. I think he did me a good turn. How do you mean? Well, I was going to have some alterations done to the place anyhow. This'll be a terrible blow to my wife.
It was a terrible blow to me. The nurse said my wife was here a few minutes ago.
What for?
She brought us some fruit. Here. What do you think she brought us?
I don't know. What?
A pineapple.
Didn't you tell her we'd had one already?
Oh, well, perhaps it all happened for the best.
If you had my head, you wouldn't think that.
If I had your head, I wouldn't be able to think at all. Stupid.
Stupid? Well, you can't expect me to be normal. I say, did I finish my beer?
I never noticed.
You didn't pay me for it.
Do you think it was that American tennis player what did it?
Must have been. And to think he called me sweetheart.
Well, to whom do I owe the honor, madam?
Have you forgot your old Aunt Matilda?
Matilda? Never had an Aunt Matilda. Never even heard of her.
Well, you're hearing of her now.
What's this? What's this?
Congratulate me, my dear Mr. Faulkner. Since you have failed to penetrate my disguise, I must assume that it's effective.
Oh.
No other. Give me a light, please, will you?
Well, I never. It's no good coming to me for help. No matter what Alice says, I will not aid and abet an escaped murderer.
Please, I'm here with the connivance of Scotland Yard.
Well, the more fools they.
Will you kindly listen? The apparent death of Gore King...
Apparent? Do you mean he's still alive?
Of course, the whole thing was a hoax, including my arrest.
What?
To throw Moriarty off his guard and bring him out into the open.
Well, you brought him out into the open and with a vengeance. Do you realize what's happening in town at this moment?
I've an inkling.
Alien cutthroats swarming London. And all you can do is to run around in petticoats.
Run? You flatter me. It's difficult enough even to walk in them.
But you must be a detective. You might put on your breeches and catch the blighters.
It's essential they shouldn't know I'm at large until...
Until you've made your precious deductions, I suppose.
Precisely.
Well, what are they?
I think you'll find them very stimulating. Dozens of exiguous threads leading vaguely up...
Vaguely. A cow's left hind foot. Come to the point, man. Give me your conclusions.
Very well, Mr. Faulkner. Professor Moriarty is using American racketeering methods in London to distract the police. A smokescreen behind which he delivers a master stroke.
Such as?
Looting one of the city's strongest and oldest banks.
That's rich. Any idea what bank?
The Faulkner Bank. Your bank. What shops that join your bank?
Bartoli, the tobacconist, and Kipps the saddler. Been there 50 years.
Quite so. It might further amuse you to know that the saddler's is now a bird shop.
What did you say?
I purchased a parrot there this afternoon. The new tenants took over the premises 3 days ago. From their cellar, they are tunneling into the vaults of your bank.
Tunneling?
Yes. Tunneling.
What nonsense. My bank. You're as mad as a hatter, sir.
Huh? A person, sir.
I can't see anything.
If you please, sir. He says he has an important message about the bank.
What?
Have him shown in, nephew. Have him show him in.
Show me. Confounded outrage. Such a thing never happened in our family till you tried to come into it.
Be careful what you say and do. And remember, I'm stone deaf.
Mr. Faulkner?
At your service, sir?
I hope so.
Well, what is it? What is it?
I would like to speak with you alone.
Quite unnecessary. My aunt is deaf as a post.
What's that you're saying? Time for toast? Toast?
And as you see, a little childish.
Possibly you don't know me, Mr. Faulkner. My name is Moriarty.
Moriarty? Professor Moriarty?
Yes.
Eat hearty? Eat hearty? Yes, thank heaven. I keep me appetite.
What do you want with me?
Not a great deal. I want you to help me to rob Faulkner's bank.
My bank?
Your bank.
Confounded insanity. I'll call up the police.
Just a moment, Mr. Faulkner. My men are already within striking distance of your vaults. Unless you do as I request...
Are you there?
Your daughter Alice may run into severe danger.
What are you trying to do? You ruffian, frighten me? Give me...
Hold on there. Your child is already in my hands. Her whole safety depends upon your discreet behavior. Allow me.
Good night, nephew.
Oh. Good evening, madam.
Hey?
Good evening.
Good night. Good night.
And I was saying your daughter's whole happiness depends upon your discreet behavior. Discreet is the word.
What do you wish me to do?
Take that telephone and do what I tell you.
Moriarty.
Gone. In heaven's name, what am I to do?
Exactly what he said. Moriarty never bluffs.
I daren't call up the police. Those cutthroats might kill her.
Have confidence in me, Mr. Faulkner.
How will you know where to look for them?
Moriarty won't let them out of his sight. Neither will he take his eyes off that gold. Therefore, Alice and Billy are prisoners somewhere in that tunnel.
What are you going to do?
Help Moriarty rob your bank.
Quite snug and comfortable, Miss Faulkner. Why, I'm so sorry to inconvenience you. And how is Mr. Holmes' favorite pupil? Huh? Oh, you're a bright lad, Billy. And why not? Isn't Mr. Holmes a bright man, eh? But not quite bright enough. Not quite bright enough. Well, how's it going?
Good, Professor. But I must get a new holder for my ark.
Hurry up, then. Haven't got all night.
Step on it, that's you. They're waiting for you at the first ball. Lots of work to be done on that much.
Yeah, Commissioner, Commissioner.
You still here? What's the matter, baby? Getting lonesome for me? Get in.
No, you don't. No.
What's in this first ball, Professor?
Safety deposit boxes.
Now, Kinderai.
2, 3, 1. Sir Edward drinks all Weatherby's diamonds, and that includes the tear of Kawanam. 4, 5, 9. Countess of Grimsby's pearls. There's one long string of black ones. 8, 2, 1. The Maharaja of Tangapur. Rubies, emeralds, and diamonds, mostly uncut. You can take them out by the handful. 6, 4, 1. Faulkner's own box. Pearls and diamonds. You want to stay here all night? Sharp's the word. Get to that door. There's cash upstairs.
That's right, Professor. Let us get the money.
Gaston, mes amis. It will take time to open that door, n'est-ce pas?
R9, Gaston. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it don't look kosher to me, baby. Let's lay him out of here. We got the sparklers, ain't we?
Yeah, aber until we sell the jewels, what will we live on?
That's the spirit. Let's make a complete job of it. Come on, Hans. Give it the heat. Hans.
Yeah, Professor?
Upstairs, Hans. See that the coast is clear.
Yeah, Professor, upstairs.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
Go to the foot of those stairs. Lopez.
Si, senor.
With Jones to the foot of those stairs.
Si, senor.
Gaston.
Oui, monsieur.
At that gate.
Oui, monsieur.
I'll stay down here.
Alles geht gut.
Well, what is it? Anything wrong?
9-9, Professor. Alles geht gut.
I can't hear a blasted word you're saying. Speak up, man. Take off that hood.
Yeah, Professor.
Take off that hood.
Since you insist, Professor.
Holmes!
Get back!
Without their help, my poor efforts would have been quite in vain, my dear Professor.
I'll trouble you to take the ticket out.
Chief.
Thank you. A very remarkable man, Moriarty. Some people, without possessing genius themselves, have an amazing ability of stimulating it in others. I shall miss him.
Mr. Holmes, sir, Dr. Watson just telephoned to say he can't be best man at your wedding because his wife's mother has a fit of talking sickness.
Exasperating, my poor Watson. I'm afraid I shall have to ask your cooperation again, Colonel.
In anything, Holmes?
Thanks. Lock up the laboratory, Billy. We're off.
But where are you off to, Mr. Holmes?
I'm ashamed of you, Billy. After all these years of my brilliant tuition, where are your powers of deduction? A beautiful girl?
Yes, sir.
An impetuous lover.
Yes, indeed, ma'am.
The menace removed?
Right you are, sir.
What can follow but wedding bells?
Sherlock Holmes and wife, farmers.
Sherlock Holmes, new-laid eggs for sale.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. Amazing.
Elementary, my dear Billy. Elementary.